This was the original shop right here.
Uh-huh.
The table and everything was not here on the original shop. It was just open.
Right.
And but since then I've added those cabinets, over the years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't big enough, so about, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, I expanded it and took the wall that was there and moved it out, and then added the new roof and everything, and expanded out about 20 feet. And it's still not big enough.
Oh, right. It never is.
I wish I'd have got another 20 feet. On this side over here, I do all my cutting and everything.
Right.
Table saw, and then the cut-off saw. Got it set up here where I can cut. I can cut real long stock on it. Put it up here. And I use this for a stop. If I cut something that's repetitive. Everything, pretty much all the jigs and everything I have, I pretty much made myself out of necessity. You just got to build them. So I do all my cutting and everything over here. And once I'm satisfied I got everything all cut up, then it ultimately ends up back over here where I start assembling. Now I've built some pretty large stuff, which is why I don't bring a lot of stuff to show and tell, because most of my stuff is pretty big. So I built a lot of cabinets. You kind of see under this rug here, these are paint lines of cabinets that I built.
Oh, right.
So it's so rug in here because it makes it a little bit more comfortable. But I built a lot of stuff for local restaurants, and usually the cabinets are large cabinets and stuff, and sometimes they're big enough where I have to build them in sections. So the story behind this drafting table is my dad was an engineer. It passed many years ago, but he was an engineer, and this was his drafting table from back in the 60s.
Okay.
And I inherited it and rebuilt it several years ago. It was in storage for years, and I took it out of storage and rebuilt it. This is a mechanical drafting machine. A lot of guys don't even know what that is because it's horizontal and vertical. And so you just take it, but I don't have drawing paper on it right now, but if I did, I would have it taped down, and I could draw a vertical line to scale, and I can come over here and draw this and that. You design your own, and then I can do angles. By pressing this, I can go to 30-degree angle or 45 or whatever. So it's a what they call a drafting machine, and it's old tech. But I'm not a CAD draftsman, so everything I draw up, I do myself.
That's really
Sometimes if I have a joint and I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go together, I'll come up here and draw it to scale first. Then I can see it, and I thought, okay, that's how I want to do it. This is really where I start. If I'm going to design something, I'll draw it up over here, take it over there, start cutting up, go out buy the material, start cutting it up. Detail or final assembly type stuff. You know what I mean? I've got files and all my glues and all that sort of stuff's over here.
Right. I see you got the old wood stove here in the corner.
I do, and I use it. This is scrap wood that I burn when it gets really cold.
Right.
And whatever I pick up and stuff that's falling off the trees or whatever, I try to save as much wood as I can. Like most woodworkers, we don't throw away anything.
Right.
So you can see over here the storage of just. Every once in a while, I'll try to organize it and put different woods. I'll put oak or walnut or cherry wood or whatever. But then I get lazy and I start throwing things around.
You just need to put it somewhere.
Yeah, and I know it's in here. I've got pieces of walnut, and I don't ever throw anything away. Like this, for example. I might need it for something someday.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. And I've got blocks of wood that I use for different things. This over here kind of interesting. These are old parts, which I'll explain when we go outside here after a while, from an old fire truck. These are from an old fire ladder that I'm rebuilding for the Dallas Fire Museum.
Okay.
And these are the old 100-year-old parts that I've salvaged off that, and I've rebuilt them out there. And then back here, there's some parts from an old Model A fire truck that I rebuilt for them. I just saved the old wood. I don't know why I couldn't throw it away. Yeah, I built this table here out of necessity, and I've got, I do a lot of assembly on here, and a lot of underneath this paper. I put this paper on here to clean. When I was doing my guitar work here, I wanted to kind of keep it clean, but I draw on this and mark it up and whatever, and then every once in a while I'll resurface it and paint it. but I built my router into the end of it here, which really, I mean, this is just great. I can't say good enough things about it. This is the fence, and it came off of a regular router table.
Right.
And so did this, and then I just cut it in here.
Yeah, it looks like
in
a,
the guide.
like an old Bosch.
Yeah, exactly, and a lot more convenient. You know, it really is. It's just been. I can use it like a shaper like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then if I need the fence, I've got it. So I just wanted to advance, challenge myself.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to challenge myself because, you know, you get tired of just making, you know, boxes and cutting boards and, you know, all that kind
Right.
of, I get a little bit tired of it, so I got to challenge myself. I do. Yeah, I've got electric here and down at the other end,
Okay.
you know, for convenience. And then I've got air coming up here. I've got hooked up here now so it don't hit me, but I've got the air line running over so I can blow stuff off if I want to.
Right.
I added this butcher thing on here. I can roll it out over to the table if I'm gluing something up or painting something. Again, those are things that you just evolve. You know, you think, gee, I need this or I need that.
Yeah.
Taking years to you know, put everything together.
Right.
And this clamping system right here, my son does a lot of welding and steel
Okay.
work, and he made this rack for me several years ago. And I've already got it filled up, but like every woodworker says, you never have enough clamps. I got a bunch of them over there, as you can see. And anytime I get a good sale on clamps, I'll usually buy some whether I need them or not at the time.
Right.
And
So there's the old jet band saw.
yep, and probably one of the most valuable tools in my shop. I use it, of course, you know, for my guitar project, but I use it for, well, a lot of stuff. I mean, it's,
Right.
to me, it's one of the most valuable tools that I have. That and the table saw, of course. I have a lot of raw wood that I plane myself, so I just take that and bring it over here, and I'll run whatever, you know, through the planer, and
Okay.
I keep it up there because it's so heavy. I don't like to move it around, so I just
Right.
slide it over here. These are boards that I've got for a project coming up. I've just got them laying here for now.
Okay.
I got
I see you got your finishing over here.
yeah, yeah. That's where I do all my finishing. Mix up different stains and you know, paints and finishes, and I experiment.
Okay.
And over here I keep all dusty now. I kind of keep a different type of wood and what the finish would look like if you finished it, like, you know, with different stains. This is what it would look like. So I keep those kind of as a sample. Look at them. And over here, I just got paint and spray paint and some more finish type stuff.
And you said these cabinets you built.
No, I did not build them. These are I bought them off bought them at Home Depot years ago.
Okay.
Put them together. Yeah, I could. You know, you can buy them cheaper than you can build them.
Right.
So,
Right.
and sometimes I'll find some that are damaged, and then buy them for half the price. These are just more finished carpentry type stuff. I put in here. Got a lot of Craig stuff in here.
Right.
And then this is like specialty hardware type stuff that I've accumulated over the years. All kinds of different hinges and hasps, and a lot of stuff I even forgot what I have. I got to go through here once in a while and see what I've got. So, and then over here just more hardware, screws, bolts, nuts,
Right.
things like that I need. So I didn't invest in a dust system
Right.
because number one, I didn't want tubes all over the place.
Okay.
You know, I'm always swinging boards around and all that, and I didn't want to have tubes everywhere. So this is my dust removal system.
Okay.
And what I do, if after I finish a project or some point before I start finish work, I'll open up the windows, turn on these fans, and I've got a much larger one that's in another storage area. Open the door, and I'll just start at that end and just blow it all out.
Right.
You know, and that works pretty well for me. Put on a dust mask, blow it all out, let it settle for an hour or two.
Yeah, I saw the window unit down there. Does this place stay pretty cool in the summer?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
That is a combination heater and air conditioner, and that
Okay.
it'll keep it. If it's real hot, You know, it'll keep it to about you know, maybe 80 degrees or so. It's not quite big enough. I could probably use one more like that.
Right.
But I didn't want to spend the money on it. I'm not that. Didn't need to be cold. But for the most part, it works pretty well. Wood screws and nails and all that kind of hardware type stuff that you need.
Yeah.
My batteries, drill press, and all that stuff is right here.
Yeah.
So I've got everything handy. Like I said, it's taken years to get a flow. So I know where everything's at.
Right,
I don't
right.
have to guess at it. I just come over here to the drill press. Everything is right here. I don't have to look for it. If I need to sharpen something, I've got the grinders over here.
Right.
Sometimes I'll sharpen my own drill bits. It's
Okay,
handy. It's
okay.
right there. So, and then this is a
Got your bench top
little
jointer.
bench plane I use quite a bit, and I use it right here. It works out fine. I never
Yeah.
had to
Got
move it.
your own in feed over there.
Yeah. I just put this out here temporary for a longer one. I've never made one permanent because I don't use it that much. I found out that you got a good quality table saw, you keep it adjusted and everything. You get a
Yeah.
really good cut. I can glue two boards together.
You can joint with
yeah.
the table saw better than on a
Yeah,
jointer.
yeah. If I don't, then I'll run it through here.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you know, typical belt sander
Right.
on this side, and my lathe over there. Mortise tendon machine there. I don't know if you've ever
Right,
seen one
mortising.
before. Mortising tool. I don't use that either. I'm going to sell that as well. I just don't use it enough. I need the space, so I think I'm going to sell that.
So then, what kind of lathe do you have there?
I don't know the type. I got a friend of mine got it from somebody that owed him some money, and he's not a woodworker, and he had no idea what to do with it. He gave it to me several years ago, and I do use it quite a bit.
Okay.
I've made, well, I can't say quite a bit. We have a lot of guys in our club that are wood turners, and these guys are really good.
Right.
And they, I don't do that. I only turn if I need to make a table lay or
Right.
something special.
Yeah.
But I don't turn bowls and things like that. I've never learned how, and
Okay.
so I can't call myself a turner. But if I need to turn something, I can. Well,
This,
just recently, I wanted to build something for myself. I've been so busy building for other people that I wanted to build something for myself, and I always wanted to build a guitar. So a few months ago, I got this wild idea that I could do it. So I got online and learned a lot of it from YouTube.
Right.
And just scrap wood. Everything I got here was built just out of wood that I pulled out of my scrap pile.
Okay.
So it's not out of real good quality wood. And a true luthier or a guitar maker will usually make it out of Brazilian rosewood or something really nice. I wanted to make sure I could do it first before I spent the money.
Prove that you could
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Right.
So yeah, this is the first go at it. I handmade the neck. Everything on here is handmade. I didn't buy anything. And I've got a good friend that is a professional guitar rebuilder.
Okay.
And he's looked at it. He was pretty impressed, amazed that I could do this for the first one.
So I see over there you've got a form.
Yeah. So this is the form that I made. That you would that form the sides on, and you see the sides right there.
Right.
And then, so first of all, I gotta explain something to you. Over there in that box on the ground here, that's a steam box.
Okay.
Right here. And I built this a long time ago to bend some other wood. So I used it, cut some small pieces of, see I got one right here, the leftover. Just a piece of number 1 select that I cut, thin on the bandsaw, and then this is curled right now. Put it in the steamer, and then steam it for at least 2 hours.
Okay.
Pull it out. This is right. I put it on here,
And then it's
the block, and then take my clamps and clamp it on, and leave it overnight.
When it's been in the box for a couple hours, you can.
I usually
shape it how you want.
I leave it overnight usually,
Okay.
and that way in the morning when I take it off, it holds its shape. So these are a couple of bodies that I made originally, prototypes, and lesson learned. This one split on me. One of them wasn't quite thick enough, so I did another one. So it took me about 3 bodies till I got one that really worked. But I saved these. But that's what this came from.
Okay.
And then after you get the 2 sides together, you put them in this mold over here.
All right.
I've got one in the mold right now. And so after it's bent, I put it in the mold, glue these blocks on. You know, I can tighten these.
Right.
To hold
turnbuckle.
Yeah, right. So then I'll leave it in there for a couple of days, pull it out, and then I'm gonna make the top and the bottom.
And you made all the molds and forms yourself.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I made all forms. I didn't invent none of this. A lot of this you can get online. You know, I changed it a little bit and added my own touch to them, but
Right.
basically got a lot of it off of YouTube.
Tell me about the fire truck that you got talked into.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Jerry's a friend of mine, so he'll probably get a kick out of this, but this was going to be his project, and he had this Model A 1920 model over at his place.
Okay.
And he'd already announced to the club a couple of years ago that this was something he was going to do. And so, and then he said if anybody's interested in helping out on it, well, nobody was.
Right.
And so he called me one day and he said, Mitch, he said, hey, can you come over to the shop? He said, I got a friend of mine over here, you know, Keith Kelly, who's one of our members.
Yeah.
And he's the vice president of the Dallas Fire Museum. And right away, the red flag goes up. I know what Jerry's trying to do. They're going to pawn this off on me. Right. So I went over there with no intentions of doing it, but I went over there, met Keith, nicest guy in the world. We hit it off right away. So I looked at this piece of junk. I mean, it was just, the wood was rotted. It was just, you know, and I told him, I said, guys, I appreciate it, but I'm just not interested. It's just, I don't think I can do this, you know. And it was kind of funny because I had built a boat before. I don't have it anymore, but I built a boat, and Keith had seen the boat.
Right.
So when I told him I don't think I can do it, he said, no. He said, I've seen your boat. I know you can do this.
And Keith is?
Keith is the vice president of the Dallas Fire Museum.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the first time I'd met him. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. So I picked it up over at Jerry's place and brought it over here.
Okay.
And set it up on this bench. And then on the inside of the seat, rebuilt the wood in there, the floorboards, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then took it back to them, and then they do all their restoration in Dallas.
Okay.
And so that's where it is now. As a matter of fact, I think next week probably I'm going to be going over there to finish the running boards for them. They weren't ready at the time. I put some running boards in for them. The back of this particular truck, the back of it was all made out of wood and was totally rotted out. It was just mostly steel frame and pieces of wood. So that was a pretty good project. But anyway, I brought the whole, I went over there and I told Keith that I can't rebuild this bed back here. I've got to have it in my shop. So I brought the whole bed back here and put new structure on it and rebuilt the entire bed and took it back again. So it's been kind of a fun project. Now I'm doing these ladders for them. And these particular ladders are about 100 years old, and they belong to a fire truck that belongs to the city of Ennis.
Ennis, okay.
Yeah, so the Dallas Fire Museum, that's their specialty. It's not a museum in the same sense that you and I would know a museum where you take your kids and you walk through and all that kind of stuff. Although they're happy to show the public. It's open to the public. Yeah. But it's not a really nice museum like you would vision. It's mostly they restore old fire trucks from around the entire country. So they've got several of them in there right now that are in different phases of reconditioning. So they've got metal people, paint people, mechanics that work on the diesel engines, all these experts. Yeah. And I'm the wood guy, I guess. So I do, if they have, if they have wood that needs to be part of the project, then that's where I come in. Okay. And so I'm rebuilding these ladders for the city of Venice right now, and these ladders.